Hello! I just tried recording this video for about 5 minutes and it seems like there were some technical challenges, so I'm back again. Hopefully this will work properly this time. If not, I don't know what to tell you guys today. Sometimes live video just does not work properly. So I apologize if you're watching the recording and have to wait out the first moments while I figure this out, but I'm gonna just start talking, and then hopefully some people will tell me if it's working okay. And if not, then I will have just told you a story for no reason. But that's fine. Sometimes that happens. Okay, well, while I'm waiting for people, I will start the story, which is about my trip to Las Vegas that I took this weekend for my friend's bachelorette party. It looks like there are people here and I'm getting thumbs up now, so I think all is good and the restart worked. You guys, if you missed it, I was like sharing at the beginning of the last attempt of this video today how I've been deep cleaning my home. I don't know if it looks any different to you, but to me it just seems so refreshing. Like energetically it shifted everything. I've deep cleaned my place, like half of my place right now. I still have like the other half to do. It's taking me hours. I'm a little sweaty and flushed from that. And the light's extra bright because my curtains are hanging up on the what do you call that? The curtain rod. So yeah, I'm just all window at the moment and I don't feel like taking them down quite yet. So I started telling my story about my recent Vegas trip, so I'll dive back into it. And hope all of you are doing well. Thanks so much for those of you who join live. And as a reminder, I do these live videos every Monday at 5 p.m. Pacific, or a little after if there's technical difficulties or something going on in my schedule. So Vegas. I love Vegas. This recent trip was my, I think, 10th time there, and it keeps getting better and better, to be honest. But this trip I had a lot of anxiety about, so I don't honestly know why, and I wanted to talk about that today. So this is a really good friend of mine is having her bachelorette party, and she invited me months ago. I thought, yeah, this sounds great, can't wait, love Vegas, this is going to be awesome. But as we got closer to the date of it, I started to, as my friend Candace likes to call it, catastrophize, meaning I started building up all of the worst case scenarios for this trip. And that was just such a horrible place to be in, to think about everything that could possibly go wrong. So I started to have so much anxiety that I didn't even want to go on this trip anymore, even though, again, a very good friend of mine, and this meant a lot. I'm one of her bridesmaids, so hi Liz. I felt like I had to go. And so I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but these feelings of not wanting to, I'm sure you can, not wanting to do something and feeling like you have to do it. So many people actually struggle with that, and that's typically not an issue for me, because if I don't want to do something, I usually don't do it. And I've chosen a lifestyle that has allowed me to really like do what I want, and that's not always the case. And as my friend pointed out to me, like sometimes you need to do things that you don't really want to do for people that you love, and you do it because you love them and it's important to them. And that was really the reason that I ended up going on this trip, despite how much I didn't want to go. So for me, I don't know what exactly was going on, but I had this horrible mindset, almost like I was, like my mind was boycotted or something, my emotions, like, and it wasn't like lining up with any like hormonal, shifts in, as a woman. Our hormones change a lot throughout the month, and I just couldn't pinpoint it. I don't know what was going on, but for me, I just like, the thought of going on this trip sounded like a nightmare. So first of all, I knew I was going to be the only vegan in this group. There were, I think, 7 or 8 of us going on this trip together. And I, of course, know my good friend who's having the wedding, and I knew 1 or 2 of her siblings, but who were also there. She had 3 of her siblings there. And she had a friend from out of town and another 2 siblings I hadn't met before. And I was just like, feeling like I was going to be the odd one out. And even though I've been vegan for almost 14 years, the idea of going on this trip and feeling like I wouldn't have control was giving me a lot of anxiety. And I think that's a huge lesson that I learned from this trip, was like letting go of control. And it really like sparked a lot of discomfort in me, of feeling like I wouldn't be able to determine how the trip went, that I had to just truly let go and let things happen. So I was carpooling up with her siblings. My friend Amy flew out there separately to Vegas, and just to save money, the rest of us decided to carpool, or most of us, 5 of us carpooled from Los Angeles to Vegas, which is about a 4-hour car ride. And we left on a Friday, which is like not a great time to go to Vegas because there's tons of traffic. And so in my head, I'm like, there's gonna be traffic, and it's gonna be like so packed in the car, and I wish I could drive myself, but I have an electric car, and like renting a car would like cost so much money, and like my mind just like felt so anxious about that. And I was like, oh gosh, I can't imagine being crammed in this car with a lot of people that I don't know very well. And then I started getting nervous that like, because it was only vegan, that I was going to be that weird vegan there and everyone was going to be annoyed with me. And like, these thoughts don't usually come up for me, but like, this was coming up hardcore. And even though I know there's lots of options in Vegas, Vegas keeps getting better and better. Again, I've been going to Vegas since like 2006, I want to say, or maybe 2005 was my first time. And like every year it's just like better and better and better. And 2017, a lot has changed, but in my head, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to eat vegan at any of these restaurants that they wanted to go to. So the maid of honor was planning this bachelorette party, and she had like this whole schedule that she sent to us. And like when I looked at the schedule, I was thinking, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna do? She picked like this fancy restaurant. I went on the website and there was like no vegan options on there, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna cost me like all this money to eat like a boring plate of vegetables. And then we booked 2 hotel rooms for 8 people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna end up like uncomfortable on the couch or something. Like my mind went to every worst case scenario possible. And it truly was catastrophizing. It was me just like imagining that this trip was going to be a nightmare and not trusting that it could be great. So I honestly wanted to not go. I was going to like pay for my spot at the hotel room and anything else that I agreed to pay for and just stay home. But I was also afraid that if I stayed home, it was going to really hurt my friend's feelings. And being one of her bridesmaids, like what if that just threw off the energy of the wedding? And I just had to make a decision, like what was more important? Me and my fear and my need for control, me for like, you know, yeah, I guess that's really basically it, the need for control, or me going and trusting and having a good time, and even if I'm not having a good time, trying to make the most out of it for my friend. So I thought about this for days. I talked to another friend of mine, and she pointed out how much I was catastrophizing. She said, you know, this is an important day for your friend. I think you should just go and suck it up and just don't worry. Like it could be better than you thought. So I took that leap of faith, and the days leading up to going to Vegas, I just like wasn't sure how it was going to go and kept in my head wondering if there was a way I could get out of it. And this is weird. This is like kind of out of character for me, I think, but it also was a great opportunity for me to reflect on some of my not so great qualities, which is the fact that I do get anxiety and I do want to control things, and that I do like want to make things go my way basically, and if they don't go my way I get worried about them. And you know, that desire to like shape things all the time and help things go a certain way, you know, be in charge, all of that, I had to just accept that that wasn't going to necessarily be the case on this trip. So I went, and it ended up being great. So the tides turned. My friend's siblings picked me up. So there was, again, 5 of us in this car. They let me sit in the front seat, which made me feel better because it was less cramped, and sometimes I get car sick, so that was fine. And we had a phenomenal time driving to Vegas. We didn't hit much traffic. We were laughing the entire trip. In fact, her siblings are so awesome that I felt like I was with my own family. I felt like I was with my sister times 3. And that was just such a beautiful experience. So the trip's already off to a great start. We get to Vegas Friday afternoon, and we arrive at the hotel. And I don't know if I'd ever been inside the hotel. We stayed at the Cosmopolitan. And it's like, it's nuts how many hotels there are in Vegas. Like, again, I think this is my 10th time there. And like, there's so many hotels I've just never experienced. And the Cosmo is like one of the best hotels I've ever even stepped inside in Vegas. I've stayed at the Bellagio and Planet Hollywood and Mandalay Bay, which is actually really nice, and a few others, and they were all good. Mandalay Bay is probably like one of the nicest, even nicer than the Bellagio in my opinion, but you know, the Cosmopolitan was just outstanding. So we arrived there, we're staying, my friend like splurged and got us suites and we all split it since there were 8 of us. It actually wasn't that expensive. And like we got rollaway beds that were super comfortable, and like we had this incredible view, the best view I've ever had at a hotel in Vegas. I mean, it was just like overlooking the Bellagio fountains. If you've ever been to Vegas, they have like these big beautiful fountains that shoot up like every half an hour or so, and overlooking the Paris Hotel, and they have like an Eiffel Tower there, so it's just like magnificent. And again, like this, we were on the 19th floor, so we were very high up, and we had this huge kitchen so we could bring our own food in there, and like we got all this great food. We made a trip to Costco before we arrived at the hotel, and we just loaded up on things, and we got like organic potato chips with coconut oil and, you know, vegan popcorn, and like my friends were just, or not my, well, I feel like they're my friends now, but Amy's family and friends were so great about my veganism. In fact, one of them is considering going vegan herself, which I didn't realize, and she ended up asking me all these questions, but I thought they were gonna kind of like make fun of me and I would have to like deflect that all the time. No, instead they were all like either curious about it or just totally accepting. And it was just another reminder that not to make assumptions about what other people are going to think about you. That was such a huge lesson for me. And, you know, these are people from the South, like they live in Texas and Louisiana, and like we can have all these preconceived notions about how people in those parts of the country may eat or may think, but like it was also a great reminder that not to make these judgments about people that you don't know well. And I ended up bonding with them so well. So it gets better. You know, I'm so excited to be with my friend. She's like one of my favorite people that I've met ever. And so she's just immediately like filling my heart with joy. And again, her family's so much like that, and her friend who I hadn't met was like that. And it was just instant fun. We ended up going to this restaurant called Momofuku, and it was awesome because it was in the Cosmopolitan, so all we had to do was walk downstairs. That's something about Vegas that can be kind of annoying, is when you have to like get in an Uber and take it all the way down the strip, and that takes like half an hour, and if you're a girl and wearing like high heels and a tight dress, which most people wear in Vegas, you're uncomfortable the whole night. And that was part of the catastrophizing. I was imagining like how uncomfortable I was going to be the whole time. But no, it was great. We get down, but here's the best part, you guys. Momofuku made me literally one of the best vegan dishes I've ever had in a non-vegan restaurant. No exaggeration. So this is another benefit of having low expectations, because most of the time they can only get better from there. So I go in there like at this point having an open mind, and you know, we ordered like shishito peppers as an appetizer off the menu, and then I asked the waiter like, what can you make for me that's vegan? And I think I had like read somewhere that they could be accommodating, but there was nothing like on the menu that was obviously vegan. And he paused for a moment and thought about it. He's like, oh, you know what? We have this dish that we just took off the menu called the rice cake, so I can go see if they can make that for you and add in some vegetables. I was like, cool. Again, low expectations. And also I had no idea how much this was going to cost me, and we're in this like nice restaurant in Vegas, so part of me is like, oh, please don't be $50 for this dish. They bring out this dish, and honestly, if it had been $50, it would have been worth it. It turned out to be only 21, which was so reasonable because it seriously was so incredible. I wish I had like taken a ton of photos of it, but I was trying to be polite to everybody else there. But I would like go back to Vegas just to have this dish. It was so good. Instead, I was picturing like these like round rice cakes on the plate with like vegetables on top and nothing that exciting. No. These were like crispy pieces of rice cakes, like broken up and scattered throughout this dish with fresh farmer's market vegetables that were incredibly seasoned, cut into the perfect bite-sized pieces. Like, I can't even describe the seasoning. It was just unbelievable. And it was so good, not just for me, but I passed it around the table, and everybody else at the table wished that they had ordered it. In fact, one of my friends got a $90 steak. Obviously not my preference, but she said to me, I really wish I had ordered your dish instead of my steak. She actually did not like her steak and much preferred the vegan dish. So I was like, all right, like, way to go. It was so, so great. Momofuku actually has a few locations, and I believe the one in New York City is the one that has the Impossible Burger, or one of the few places in the country that has the Impossible Burger, which is like one of those new vegan burgers that's changing things. So I think I gotta give Momofuku a lot of credit there. So we finish dinner, that's great. We go out, we have drinks, we have fun, whatever. The next day we hang out by the pool, and it's beautiful. And then it happens to be a vegan-friendly restaurant right across on the other side of the strip. So this is the other thing about Vegas, is that there are vegan options scattered throughout the strip, not very many. The Wynn Hotel has like vegan options everywhere, but other than that, like you can kind of get by. Like there's California Pizza Kitchen, which we ended up going to, Cheesecake Factory, a lot of these chains that have vegan options. And you know, you can find vegan things pretty much anywhere, and Vegas is full of like all the standard restaurants, but they're usually not that great and they're overpriced. Then there's a few specifically vegan restaurants, but they're not on the strip aside from the Wynn. There's a really great place called Panafino, I think. It's an Italian restaurant that's like kind of near the airport. There's at least one vegan restaurant, or maybe two now, in downtown Las Vegas, which is north of the Strip. And then I think it's west of the Strip, there's this place called Violet's Vegans, and there's Ronald's Donuts, which is like this place people go crazy over that has vegan donuts. And there are cafes. Like, there's a lot of great stuff around Vegas, but if you're in a position like I am, where you're carpooling with people that aren't vegan, or you're flying in and you're just Ubering around, like, it can get so expensive to try to go to all these places. So it's nice to know that there are restaurants like Momofuku that have all these great options. But beyond that, I happened to luck out, and another place that was like one of the better places to find vegan options is this Mexican place called Nacho Daddy, which is part of Planet Hollywood. They have the hotel, the casino, and also like a shopping center. And Nacho Daddy's like on the outside of the shopping center, right across from Cosmopolitan where I was staying. And they have a fully vegan menu. So not only that, but I actually asked for, you know, to see what kind of ingredients were in some of the dishes. And a guy came out, showed me the binder, and like told me about all the things that were in their queso. And it was just so nice that they were super aware and accommodating. So I would recommend Nacho Daddy. We had a great salad, and then we had the queso, which honestly wasn't that great. I've had better, but it was still exciting. And you could get like these nacho plates and like all these different dishes. They all vegan cheese to put in everything, so that was cool. And then we went back to the hotel, and again, Cosmopolitan, they had a fully organic juice bar in the hotel. And there are a few places now, like juice bars are becoming bigger and bigger in Vegas, but this is like one of the better ones in Vegas, right in the hotel. I was like, this is great. And like now I just always want to stay in the Cosmopolitan. It's so nice. So yeah, we did that, and then we went to the club, and like I've never experienced a club in the way that I did that night. Honestly, I can only remember going to a club once in my life. I mean, I guess I've been to like music venues that were kind of like clubs, but like it's just never been my thing. And it was so expensive because we got a table. Because it just, when you get a table at a club, you don't have to wait in line, and like, you know, they give you this great service. That's what my friend wanted to do, but it was crazy expensive. It was like, I think about $1,000 for this table, and split amongst all of us, it came out to like $166. And you get a table with service, and they give you like drinks, mixers, and then like one bottle of liquor. And so it's just like, really $1,000 for that? Like, it's kind of nuts. But I will say, A, it was worth it because my friend wanted to do it, but B, I was blown away by the club experience. So again, not being someone that's like feels the need to dance all the time and like get dressed up all the time, like it's just like not majorly my thing. I felt resistant to it, and I went to the club and I was like trying to have an open mind, and we sit down at the table and I'm like, this is kind of boring, like the music wasn't that good and like the drinks were just okay. But I will say that having a table, like, and the staff there was unbelievable, and like the girls that work there are so gorgeous. It's like nuts. Like, I'm a completely straight woman, but I really appreciate beautiful women. Just looking at them, like, I'm always like in awe of really beautiful women, and these girls were like so classy and sexy, but sweet and nice, and just like, I was like, okay, like, this is kind of cool. Like, you know, I was admiring them, and they were coming to the table and pouring us drinks and all that, and it was just like cool experience. And there were men there too, of course, and they were pretty good, but you could tell that they emphasized the women at the club. And so anyways, we're sitting there, like an hour or so goes by, and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna have to like force myself to go dance on the club. Everything changed though when the actual DJs showed up. So Vegas is known for like one of the things that Vegas is known for is like the DJ experience. And in LA, there's like all these billboards all over the town, like advertising like DJs, and I'll look at them and be like, I wonder what it's like to like go to these clubs and see these DJs play. Let me tell you guys, it's an extraordinary experience if you like really good music and you like to dance. I like both of those things, of course, but I want music to like, I want it to be irresistible to dance. Like, I want to almost like not be able to control myself from experiencing that. That's how I felt. And I don't know if I've ever quite experienced, I definitely haven't experienced anything like that, but like that deep, like primal desire to dance came out of me in a way that just like is so, so rare. The DJs come on and everybody crowds into this one room. The lights change, they have smoke machines, they have these people up behind the DJs dancing, and like the music was so incredible. It was like perfectly timed, like how they would switch from one song to the next. Every song choice was amazing. You didn't want the song to end, but then the next one would begin and it was just as good as the other. And like, I didn't want to leave. So I was drinking a little bit and was feeling good about that. And I just got out there and let loose in a way that I don't normally do. And little background, I really have a deep love for dancing, but I tend to be like a little shy and reserved about it in most situations. I used to like want to be a professional dancer, but really held myself back from that. And it ended up being okay because everything else that happened in my life has been great. But there's always this part of me that like wants to dance in it and like let that side of me out. And again, like I just don't really get to be in, or don't put myself in those situations where I can experience that. But I just couldn't even believe what it felt like to be at this club. And it was so crowded, but like the energy of all these people just letting loose and dancing. So the music's, I mean, the lights are flashing, the music's great, and like every like song or two, they blast the smoke onto you that was cool. By the way, Vegas was over 100 degrees while I was there. It was so hot. So they're blasting cool air onto you, which felt great. And it's so smoky that you can't see anything around you for like a minute. Meanwhile, they blow like little pieces of paper, like confetti out over you. So you're just like, wow. Like the first time it happened, I was like in complete disbelief because I didn't expect it. And so you're just in it, in the moment, like just like, I was blown away by that. And I never thought that I would enjoy that. So it was so, so great. And we got back to the hotel, we slept in a little bit, and then just like hung out for a little while during the day. We walked through Vegas, we went to the California Pizza Kitchen like I suggested. Their vegan options there are like okay. If you're gluten-free like I am, they're challenging. You can actually get pizza there, but they don't have vegan cheese, at least not the one I went to. They do have a pretty good vegan soup though, and that's what I got. And someone asked earlier if I gamble. I don't really gamble, but I do like slot machines, which is still gambling. And I always give myself like a limit. It's usually $20. So I spent my $20 in the slot machines and didn't really win much, or I didn't technically come away with anything. But a lot of times slot machines is just kind of fun, almost like a video game, so I look at it as I'm paying for entertainment, and if I happen to win, that's awesome, but if not, like, I'm still enjoying the experience. And I have specific slot machines that I love. One is called Hot Shot, and the other one's called Crazy Money. Highly recommend them. I find them, Crazy Money especially, is my new favorite, and I just think it's so much fun. In one of the hotels, or the casinos we went into, I think it was the Venetian, which is a very cool hotel, they had these massive Crazy Money slots. And this is one thing that's cool about Vegas, is like there's different versions of each slot machine depending on which casinos you're in and which part of the casino. And so I like to like walk around and just see what my options are and then go play a machine that feels right. And there was one machine I really wanted to play, but it was so popular that there was a line for it, which I'd never seen before, and it was Crazy Money. And I got to witness some woman like hitting, I don't know if it was a jackpot, but she made like a ton of money. And it's just kind of cool. Like it's a fun experience. So I think slot machines are my thing. I would play like poker, any of those other card games if I knew how, but I haven't taught myself yet. So I think that's the basics of the Vegas experience. It really taught me to be okay with not feeling like I need to control everything and know every detail, and to trust that things will work out. Things don't always work out, and I think I was in great hands, and it definitely could have been a bad experience, but it wasn't, and it's kept me loving Vegas, number one. I think Vegas is just great. It might not be the most eco-friendly city, that's for sure, but it's getting more and more vegan-friendly, and there's just so many things to experience there. Like, having been going to Vegas for over 10 years now, I usually go like once a year. I just love, there's an energy to Vegas that again, it can be very wasteful, and people just kind of spend so much money there and just almost don't care about things. But what I would say is it's an opportunity to kind of tap into your inner child, let loose, have fun, and just let crazy things happen. I don't know, they just kind of do in Vegas. And there's an energy to the way people are in Vegas that is not something I've often experienced. I live in a great city, Los Angeles, I love, and there's so many amazing things that happen in LA, but it's a business city at the end of the day. This city is here for people that are on vacation or people that are working really hard. And so the most times I'm around people that are working, and everyone's a little not uptight, but they're there's only a certain amount of time that they'll give towards having fun, and then they're back to their normal lives. If you go to Vegas for a few days, to me personally, it feels like the entire time you're there, everyone around you is just there to have fun. And I think as adults, most of us don't put ourselves in that position very frequently. So to just go and have a great time, whatever that means for you, I think is such a beautiful thing to do. And it doesn't have to be Vegas, of course, but even when I've been on trips for vacation, if you're not in a place where everyone is on vacation, then sometimes it doesn't always feel like vacation, if that makes sense. Now, of course, there are people working there, but you go to certain parts of the world, and there's the tourists, and then there's the people that live there, and there's a conflict there. In Vegas, I guess when you're on the Strip, there aren't really people that live on the Strip. Maybe there are, but not very many. And so you're just basically around the employees who have been hired because of their ability to tap into that energy to have fun. The women working at the club, for example, you can tell they were trained and they were hired based on their personalities to tap into the fun. And so that just uplifts the whole experience. I will say at Nacho Daddy, the waitress was not tapping into the fun. She seemed a bit unhappy. And I'm sure there's a lot of people like that in Vegas too. Maybe I just, on this trip, mainly experienced very happy-go-lucky people. And I was very grateful for that, because I think that's just such an important thing to do for yourself. Like, I felt like I was truly on vacation, even though it was 4 hours away from where I live by car, and it was only a few days, but I feel great. I feel energized and rejuvenated. All right, a bunch of comments came in. I felt like I was on a roll with my story, so let me go and acknowledge you. Whoa! And then I have to get going. So, Green Dragon, thank you for being here as always. And Liz, Zigzag acknowledged how great my place looks. Thank you. It's not done yet. I would give you guys a tour otherwise, but I completely washed my couch. It still needs a little bit of work, but it's a lot cleaner now. And I cleaned my entire bed, all the sheets, and vacuumed underneath it. I vacuumed my mattress. This corner is where my table usually is, and that needs to go back into place, but like the floor is just spotless. Evie's bed is cleaned. Like, the inspiration for cleaning my place is that Evie has gotten bad fleas lately. I'll do a whole nother video on this. I have one planned on flea control, natural flea control. It's been a huge issue, so I did a deep clean of my place and some natural flea treatment, and it just like feels so much better now. Okay. So I answered Zigzag's question about, or not, MKRP's question. MKRP is considering a smart car, electric car. That's awesome. I think smart cars are great. I love my Fiat though, which is a little bit bigger. And, oh no, you know, yeah, that's the thing. You could certainly get an upset stomach. I will say I didn't feel great while I was in Vegas from the food. I tried to be prepared. I brought some I brought my Organifi green powders, and I brought my probiotics, and I brought water, filtered water, vegan food bars, and some like protein shakes and stuff like that, just to be prepared. Some of my favorite organic gluten-free crackers, and tried to make smart decisions. But honestly, when you're in Vegas, there's something about the energy there that makes you want to just let loose and eat whatever you want. But also drinking, the downside of drinking is you make poor decisions. So I didn't make the best decisions food-wise. And thus today I'm kind of like on a mini cleanse or detox to just kind of work through that. So Yadi said, this reminds me of when people need to or want to make change in their lives or moving forward, and they think of all the bad things that could happen, so they don't make changes. Absolutely. Ted says, I can relate to some of your weaknesses. You're motivating me to see Vegas for the first time. I'm telling you guys, you have to go to Vegas sometime in your life, and I'm happy to give you guys more tips. Yadi, yes, the angels did hear my concern, and I was supported. So yes, I think that is part of the energy of it. Stephanie said, good DJs are a spiritual experience. I'm telling you, I want to go see more DJs after that experience. The DJs were Tritonol or something like that. I don't know. I don't know much about DJs, but they were phenomenal. And let's see here. Yadi said, I feel how to be vegan in Las Vegas and have fun. Yeah, I probably should do a video like that. Stephanie said, there are so many vegan options there, maybe not gluten-free as much though. It's getting easier and easier to eat gluten-free in Vegas there. Ted suggested that I try craps sometimes. You'll be able to play longer and the players are more social. My friend Amy actually did play like one of the craps machines, so like the dice like pop automatically. There's no like attendant there. And she seemed to enjoy it, but I did not understand what was going on. So I would like to learn craps and some of the other games. Wow, you went to school with Tritonol, Stephanie? What a small world. They were incredible. What I loved about them, aside from all the other like professionalism and just their ability to play great music, but I was also blown away by, I have to go in a moment, but like they were so into it. They were like dancing to everything, and like they just like, it wasn't like they were just up there like trying to play it cool, like, yeah, I'm a cool DJ, like I know my music's good. No, they were like into it, so like it made you want to be really into it too. Wow, that's so cool, Stephanie. What a small world. I don't know anything about them beyond that experience, but how crazy that you happen to know them. All right, I gotta wrap things up. Got a lot to do today. And there's some fun things happening this week, which hopefully will share with you guys next week, depending on how they go. I always want to like share more in my life. You know, that'll be an element of Eco Vegan Pal. So if you haven't checked out Eco Vegan Pal, the membership community, I'll link to it, or you can just go to ecoveganpal.com. If you join there, there's a lot of things happening. Right now it's just annual memberships and it's just getting started. So one thing that I'm going to have in there is a special section for like really personal videos that I just don't feel comfortable putting out publicly. But like there's something happening tomorrow that I want to talk about now, but because it's public, I would rather wait till after it happens to see if I want to talk about it. So, you know, my hope is with Eco Vegan Pal to just like tell you guys everything in my life, and having that safe space is super important. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider joining Eco Vegan Pal. It's an amazing community for you guys to meet other people. There's tons of things in the work with it, so getting in on it now is just a great way to be there from the beginning, to meet people while they're there, because there's, I don't know, 60 members in there right now from all around the world. And yeah, it's just also a great way to get more involved with what I'm doing and support my work. You know, yeah, it's just a way to be part of everything. So, all right, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching. If you have requests for future content, let me know in a comment. I didn't have a chance to look at the comments from last week's video yet, but I will address them at some point. Thank you so much for being here, Yadi. I'm glad my energy uplifted you, and I hope you guys learned something from the lessons that I learned. And I'll see you very soon. In the meantime, check out the main Eco Vegan Gal YouTube channel. Connect with me on social media. I love private messaging people on Instagram right now. It's amazing. Same with Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, all those different places. I'm also working on a cool project with Facebook right now that I can't wait to tell you guys about. So lots of things happening, lots of new ways to support you and connect with you. So check them all out in the links down below. And I will see you next Monday at 5 p.m. Until then, all the best to you. Bye.